Hey everyone, welcome to Geek Rant. It's Greg here again on the channel with Toby, and today we're going to be talking about episode 5 of Andor. But before we start, please don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell for alerts. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. We're going to be talking about episode 5 of Andor. But before we do, we want to just let you know about a new segment that we're going to have on the show. At the end of the episode, we're going to have the Guess the Film competition. Toby and I are going to read a few lines from a script, and all you have to do is guess the name of the film. If you know the answer, then you're going to write it in the comment section below, and your username will be added to the Geek Rant Film Knowledge League. Every correct guess will get you a point on our league, and we'll put a webpage link in the description below on our next episode and onwards, so that you can keep an eye on where your standings are in the league. So we're hoping this is going to be a bit of fun and something new that we're trying out. So comments on what you think of this idea would also be appreciated.
Yeah. And don't forget, you have to put the name of the film in the comment section to get a point.
Okay, so episode 5 of Andor's called The Axe Forgets, and this was a slightly unusual name for the episode, but it's referenced in there with one of the characters, something Arvel Skeen says in the episode about the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. So obviously, when it cuts the tree down, and he's talking about them becoming the axe to try and get this mission done.
Yes.
Yeah. But what did you think overall, Toby? It was an episode that's obviously leading up to them doing the mission. So there's a lot of sort of preparation of and planning.
Yeah.
How did you think it went?
It's difficult, isn't it? I think with an episode like this, you would classically call it a filler episode.
Right.
It very much didn't move anything forward. I don't think there was no real progression. Now, having grown up watching things like Star Trek, where you would get lots of sort of filler episodes or non-episodes, or just general TV. If you had, say, 20 episodes in a show, you knew that at least 3 or 4 of them were just going to be filler, not really moving much forward. But I was surprised that they would have an episode like this when there's only 10 episodes in the series.
Right.
So I did feel that they were sort of clutching at straws a little bit at times in this, when I didn't think, I think back to the episode now, and I can't actually recall much that happened. There wasn't really a lot. There was a lot of sitting down and talking, facing off between a couple of people. Yeah, we had quite a bit at the camp, didn't we?
Yes,
with Vel and Arvel and those guys, and Karis talking, and Cassian refusing to respond to them or tell them anything, which you could probably imagine me when you're watching it getting very frustrated with and Cassian just standing there saying nothing. And then he can't come up with a nice little storyline. He has to tell him the truth that he's actually a hired hand,
Yeah. Well, I think that was partly because of the tension that was building. Of course. It's interesting to just that aside. It's interesting to hear you sort of say that about this and what you thought of this. I think I've been trying to sort of get my mind into a different mindset with this, because it's not a standard Star Wars product. No. Normally there's a lot more action and chases and running around and not a lot happening. This to me feels more like a drama series, a spy thriller, and they're concocting a plan for like a heist, and a lot of a heist program or film, you do see all the discussion about what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, what the plan is. Doesn't always go to plan, does it?
Well, we had quite a bit of that in the last episode, I thought, and we didn't really see much.
I don't know, because he got rescued. He got away, didn't he, with Luthen? And
they looked at the model, didn't they, and
they
everything.
then came back. They had a quick, he only got a sort of quick introduction to all the people.
Yeah,
But
I think that's more the point. They were
this was
trying to
them
find
now
out more about him.
preparing. This was now
Yeah,
them preparing to do the thing. So they were learning. Oh, we've got to train. We've got to be acting like we're the store. The Imperial Guards walking
yeah.
along, and
I thought that was a
we've
bit
got.
stupid.
I,
Practicing
I,
their marching
yeah, but I think
about
this was trying to just
10 yards.
yeah. Well,
I know.
we said in our
It,
last review we were a bit sort of baffled why they were so upset about him turning up. But
yeah,
there's obviously been a lot of planning that's gone into them doing this mission. There's only a few of them against a whole, set of Imperial troops. So
yeah,
I think they're just worried that, someone new who doesn't know what's going to happen, how they've planned it, is going to upset the whole mission basically and get them
yeah,
killed. So I
yeah,
can understand it from that sense of view.
yeah. I think
I
it. Yeah, I think unfortunately it meant that we
mm.
have Diego Luna in the spotlight much more in this episode, and he's just boring. I find him boring. I just do. I can't help it, and
I didn't think he was too
frustrating.
bad.
I was getting
I think
frustrated with him. Once he came out and said, "I'm a hired hand," he suddenly was a bit more bullshit. And I thought, better. We need some interaction
yes,
rather than just standing there
yes,
like a nonce.
yeah.
So
Well, I think he was just trying to keep his cards close to his chest. He had kind of been, he didn't really want to be in this position, did he? He didn't want
no,
to be coming and doing this necessarily. His whole life had been turned upside down by being taken off of
yeah,
Ferrex.
yeah,
He that all that suddenly happened to him, didn't it? In those first couple of episodes where
yeah.
he's had to come away, and now he's gone off on a mission with
Mm.
people he doesn't know. That they're all quite aggressive and outraged that he's there. I can see a bit of the complacency on his part to divulge. But then I also think to myself that they're all rebel fighters. They've all got stories about why they're in the rebellion, and I quite liked a bit of that sort of discussion that they had, why they were there, what they were doing, the point of it.
Yeah.
And I think if he'd thought about it, if he'd just been a bit more honest about what he was doing in the beginning, then they might have been a bit more cool with him.
Yeah, yeah. If he'd given them some sort of story,
Yeah,
but and then Arville jumps him and gets the knife out and takes his lightsaber crystal, doesn't he? And he
yeah.
holds it up,
Kyber.
and yeah, and I mean, I'm
What do they
like
call it? Kyber star
Kyber
crystal
Star, something like that. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
they're all standing there, and he's holding up like, what are they going to say? Big deal. He's got this blooming thing around his neck.
yeah.
Does that prove something? I don't know what it does prove.
Well,
And so
he said, what sort of person
I know. He
comes
said that,
into this carrying something that's worth
but they've
30
all
or
got their
50,
reasons, haven't they?
50K?
And
Yeah, they
maybe
have. They
his
have.
reason would be to have that.
And,
Maybe that's
and and I
part of it.
think you're
Maybe he's a
right.
Jedi.
I
You
think you're
know.
right. I think there was a bit of they knew that he'd been injured, hadn't he? They knew
Yeah.
he'd just come from
Come from
some
a
sort
fight.
of
Yeah.
fight or some sort of thing. So he had his stuff with him that he had. So yeah, I can see what you're saying. Him being outraged by him having this expensive crystal didn't really make a lot of sense. But I think it was more a frustration thing that he
Tell me who
wanted,
you are. What's
yeah,
your
he wanted to know
motives?
more about
It didn't
him.
quite
Wanted
come
to,
across that. I think yes. There's we want to know his identity, but
yeah.
why can't they just trust Vel, their leader, with this position? And
Well,
this is it, isn't it? I mean, I just thought we'd spent too much time with this story.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think it was unfortunately Diego Luna. I don't
I
think
feel
acted it
I
very
feel
well.
they could have started the actual mission, in
Me
this
too.
episode.
Yeah.
I think if they're going to have this amazing, they could have had a really good sort of finish to it of this these
Yeah.
whatever they were particles coming over and them seeing, and being a
Yeah.
bit wowed by that, and then it's going to go into the action. And I think that would have
Yeah.
been a good
Definitely.
way to finish this episode, keep you
Yeah.
hanging on for what's the next episode going to be.
Well,
um
what would have been good is if we could have
yeah
seen some of these travelers coming to this
yes That's what I
to
mean.
this
Them come
shrine.
down, see
Yeah.
that thing starting to
Well,
happen.
even if we didn't see the start, the meteor shower, we could have had some interesting characters come along and become part of that scene. It was all sort of hanging around on the hilltops. Keeps the budget down, I guess. But at the end of the day, I felt, episode 4 built up to these couple. There were 2 big events it built up to: the heist and Mon Mothma's meeting with these delegates, these other people. Now that would have been a really interesting scene.
It
and
would have
all
been.
we see is her taking her earrings off in the car after. Now that was a great opportunity to have this tense kind of political parrying around the table, and just to see how vulnerable Mon Mothma
that's very
was.
true, because I didn't really
I was looking forward to that.
I was looking forward to that. You're right, because they were traveling away, weren't they? Were traveling, but then I thought it was at their house. She
clearly takes her earrings off to sort of indicate that she's been somewhere, been smart, and now she's coming back and becoming more casual, so it was a shame. I think that the husband's very slimy, isn't he? And the daughter's frustrated, and Mon Mothma, she can't really give too much away, but he's starting to catch on that she's up to something, because he said, "Oh, I didn't know you set up a new foundation," and she said, "Oh, well, it's charitable," and kind of looked at him.
I didn't think it would interest you because it's charitable.
And that was a great line. I thought that was brilliant. But that's the sort of thing that we needed to have in the show more. I thought. I thought we needed that. I mean, unfortunately, he is the star, Cassian, but we've said this before. It's much better when we've got Mon Mothma or Luthen in the shot. And
definitely. I mean, Stellan Skarsgård, he's a bigger star, isn't he, as well? So I often think to myself in these series, how much are they going to be that involved if they're gonna, if it's a lower budget, that sort of thing. But he only had a small part to play at the end, didn't he, where he's just showing a bit of concern. Have they, how they're getting on, what are they going to do, I can see what you're saying, and I do agree. It's a little bit like the first 2 episodes. They could have condensed the first 2 episodes a bit and helped with that kind of the pacing of the show.
Definitely.
The 3rd and 4th episode have been good, and then this one I still liked it. I still enjoyed it. I didn't think it was boring, but I think it could have, like you say, maybe just picked up a pace a little bit and had maybe the beginning of this heist, or like you were saying, this group of people coming down the
setting the scene so that next episode we go right into it, and we're really hyped up for that moment, the cliffhanger, but it sort of
I agree.
Off. And I guess when you got 10 episodes, you may have to stretch out a little bit in some parts, and what you hope is that you spend that time with the actors that you really feel connected to. But and I did like some of the character development, as you were talking about their motivations was quite interesting. But again, I was much more interested in Arvel and Vel and Karis, and I thought they were kind of. I just wanted some kind of reaction.
But I do feel like I'm starting to learn a bit about those characters. I do feel like, like the Karis character.
Shame they're going to die next episode, isn't it?
It's talk. He was talking about his manifesto and all those sorts of ideas, and him talking about Empire equipment and the old Imperial Republic sort of equipment, and how all these analogies and things, and why I thought that was all right. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was bringing something to it.
Me too. I enjoyed
the problem
those.
Is we've sat here, complaining about other shows, and there's not been any of that, and this to me is more of a serious show than a Star Wars show. It's like a drama that we're following. more than a sort of run around laser shoot everybody. There's
Yeah.
got to be some of that, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm still very impressed with it. I'm still very impressed with all the effort they're putting into this. They're trying
The
to
Imperial
develop
side of it's
character.
great, isn't it?
It
You know,
is. The Dedra is,
Dedra
and
Miro
her
is
side of
brilliant.
things has been good.
Yeah, she's got
You know,
a lieutenant who's helping her, which I think is interesting.
yes,
And then we
yes.
briefly
They seem
saw
they seem more like
Cyborg, didn't we?
characters, don't they? The
Yeah,
Imperials that they have in this,
yeah,
rather than them just being a suit, that's walking around being instructed by Darth Vader or somebody.
yeah,
You see it in snippets, don't you?
yeah.
That relationship she has with her lieutenant or whoever it is,
Mm,
that they're talking. He wants to stay and help her and
yeah,
find more evidence of this theory she's got, that there's a growing sort of resistance or
yeah,
starting to come to fruition.
yeah.
So I kind of I like all that. I think that was good.
And then actually the writing in it was, there were some great lines, like
Yeah,
Dedra says, if I was to do it, that's the way I'd do it as well, or something like that.
yeah,
She says, isn't she? And
yeah,
I thought that was a great line. You know, that kind of, for me, you could see the actor, Denise Goff, just
yeah,
as if she was there doing it. Her eyes went
yeah,
distant,
yeah,
and I thought that's brilliant. That's definitely. Don't get me wrong. I
absolutely.
just felt I felt it was just a bit boring, the episode. Not
Yeah,
that it wasn't of a high quality, and not that it wasn't nice that we didn't check in
yeah,
that we
yeah.
with some of the other characters. But
It
again,
just needed a little bit more, didn't it?
I just
Quicker,
think,
and
yeah,
a few, the start of this plot, this plan to start to happen.
mm.
Yeah. No,
I,
yeah, I agree. I agree.
and I think, that sometimes the success of a series, there's something that makes it legendary,
Yeah.
is the weight you put upon the lead actor's shoulders. And the way that I know you laugh,
It's always
but
going to come back to this, isn't it, for
it
you?
always comes back to this, and I can't help it. But I think if you look at a great show, the
Yes.
lead actor is the
Yes.
person that is holding that
Yeah.
show together.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think this may just disappear into the annals of history without much fuss. I think I think there are certain things about it that people aren't
I've
gonna.
agreed with you in the past.
Yeah.
I've agreed with you in the past.
Yeah,
He's okay. He's okay.
yeah, he's okay,
He's
he's
not a
okay.
disaster.
No,
He's no Galadriel from Rings of Power.
no, that's true.
He is nothing like that. We get a
No,
sense there is a character there, and he's playing a role.
yeah,
But I think you're right. If they'd had someone who was monumentally good,
yeah.
then this would be an ultimate series, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. It would
People
be
would be
really good.
raving, wouldn't
People would
they?
go back to it, and there'd
Yeah,
be a lot of love for the main character. Mon
yeah,
Mothma's got a lot of love. That's pretty clear.
yeah,
But
yeah. She's good, but
yeah,
you're starting to see some of her flaws and her frailties. Obviously her daughter doesn't
yeah,
see her very much and doesn't seem to
no,
sort of is with the dad. He's, like you said, he's obviously a bit of a sly character, and I think
yeah,
perhaps that's going to split. Because
mm,
he likes the people who are
yeah.
shutting off all the
It would have
food
been
for these
great to
kids.
have seen
You
that
know,
whole that playing out
well,
at the
I,
dinner table. What a shame, eh?
I can't believe I didn't sort of twig that one, because
Yeah,
I was looking forward to that meal where they sit and they have all these people in, and
yeah,
and maybe you're right, maybe it's not going to happen now, but that would have been really cool, because I think there would have been some characters there that we'd seen before in other, Star Wars films or prequel. I think in the prequels as well. And it would have been really interesting, wouldn't it, to sort of
it would
see
have
what they
been.
were like, hear them talk as characters.
Yeah, yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, that's a shame if they don't do that.
Mhm.
That couldn't have been another meeting they'd gone to beforehand, and then because they were going to have it at their home, you see. So they were traveling. Were they traveling home? Do you see what I mean? So it doesn't quite.
It could be. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't
Maybe
actually
that's
watched any.
coming.
Maybe that is coming. You're right. That's a good point. But I thought that they had the meeting at that point. But
It seemed like it, didn't it? Because, like you say, they were all dressed up. Both of them were all
That
really
was
dressed up in the back of that thing, you know.
The only thing I can think they were both going to, that they would make a point in showing them all neat and tidy, was that dinner.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe listen, fingers crossed that it's in the next episode. That'd be great.
Yeah, that
But
would
I
be
think
great.
the next episode is going to largely be focusing on the heist. So
Yes. Yeah.
and the party and
Yeah.
the celebration.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to
that.
that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. I think that's going to be good. I think that's gonna pick it up again, pick up the pace again, and yeah, make it the series you're going to love. You're going to love Cassian by the end of this. You're going to be so you're going to be singing
I
his
really
praises.
want to, honestly. I know. Listen, Star Wars is my number one love, and I would love it. I would love to.
I think you're right. I think you're right. If they just had a slightly better actor, I think who had a bit of charisma about them,
Yes,
because I think you're right. When you think about it, those people that were helping him in the first couple of episodes, why were they helping him? He was nothing but miserable and horrible.
He was
them.
horrible.
And
always asking for money off them.
Yeah, and always depending on them. But yet they want to be his
And that very question, kind of punctuates it. Why would they help him? Well, if he was charming, then we'd know.
If he was a bit more like Han Solo or someone like that.
I didn't want to bring that up. I didn't want to say that.
That's what you were thinking, though, wasn't it?
It's kind of, but I think that, he's got issues, isn't he? So how do you portray those? I don't know. Anyway, we said enough about him.
The only other character that we didn't really get much from this time was the Cyril Khan bit. He obviously went home. He saw his mum. She was making him feel like a bit of an idiot, wasn't she? I'm not sure where that's kind of going at the moment, because he then got the little thing out and started looking at the picture of Cassian again, didn't he?
Yeah, so he's a little bit obsessed with him. He's a bit obsessed with getting that solved.
Yeah,
he can't let it go, can he?
You think that's what's going to happen? He's going to be.
I'm quite interested to see where the character goes. I think he's got potential. He's dislikable, isn't he? So, it's nice to have that sort of character in a show.
Yeah. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget, the film competition is on after this, but we'll see you soon. Competition time. What film is this? A meteor?
No, sir. Definitely not.
How do you know?
Well, it's slowing down.
It's doing what?
It's slowing down, sir.
Add your guess in the comments, and hopefully you'll be in our league table.